Hello YouTubers, new shop project. My wife is putting down some square tiles at work where she works, and she wanted something to roll over them to help squish them down into the glue. And so I was going to make her a roller to do the rolling. I had a piece of 4-inch coal roll 1018 at work, and I cut 10 pieces 1 inch thick. The reason I cut them 1 inch, or instead of having a 10-inch wide or 12-inch wide piece of a roller, was when if you rolled it and then you turned, it would twist the tile. Where having 10 1-inch pieces, when you twist it, some of them will roll forward and these will be rolling backwards, or whichever way you roll it, and it won't twist so hard on the tiles. So what I'm doing is drilling holes using my lathe. I'm going to end up with a 1-inch hole to put a piece of pipe through it, and I think I'm going to fill the pipe with lead to add a little weight, because all 10 of these, before the hole was drilled, only weighed about 35 pounds. So I just drilled a hole. Let me show you the drill bit. I just did a video on sharpening it. This is the drill bit I drilled right now. This is the 1-inch bit. What I did was I chose a drill bit just about the same size as the chisel part of this bit. I found, at least on this job, that helps get the big drill bit through. I drilled a 1/2-inch hole in one of them, and it seemed to chatter a lot more. This kind of follows that hole better and does a better job cutting. So now let me put this big drill bit in and drill this hole. It's kind of neat when you're not used to it, seeing the material spinning and the drill bit still while you're drilling. But what I found out, especially when I was reading on deep hole drilling for rifle barrels, by spinning your stock, the drill bit tends to follow the center of rotation. That's why you can drill a rifle barrel and drill it straight through the whole length. When you have a drill bit chucked in a drill, your center of rotation is the center of the drill bit, and it has nothing to follow really. It just guides itself, and a lot of times those deeper holes will start wandering a little bit, and they won't go straight. So by spinning your stock, you can get a straighter hole. Not that it matters on this, but that's just a little tidbit of information, I guess. Let's see, I just sharpened this bit a little bit ago, so let's see how well it does on this one. As soon as it gets out to the full diameter of the drill bit, you get a lot more of those big curly cues. And like I said, I stop and let it cut them off so I don't end up with great big long curls of steel. See, there comes one. I'd rather just cut a bunch of chips. There we are, clear through. Then what I do is I've got this deburring tool. That's a little carbide cutter. And I go around this edge while it's in the lathe, and that kind of chamfers that edge so it doesn't have any sharp burrs or anything on it. Take it out, nice and warm. And then do the other side. Whew. Let me get some Well, that's how I drill the holes and how I clean the edges up. The next step, I think, will be making the shaft to go through the center. Okay, now that I got a 1-inch hole drilled in all 10 of those rounds, I need to cut a piece of this small tubing 10 5/8 inches long. Go. I think I need another piece 10 inches long. I put the blade down, I don't set it on the material, and then I rest it against my leg. Put my tape measure against it, against the blade. Put the tubing where I want it. Tighten the vise. Check and make sure that it didn't move. I hold the blade up off the material, start it, and gently set it back down. And let the weight of the machine do the cutting. I save all these little pieces of scrap in a barrel there. Never know when they'll come in handy again. Hello YouTubers, I'm back on my wife's project here. The other day you saw me sharpen my drill bit and drill the small hole through one of these. Well, now I've got all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All 10 of them drilled 1-inch hole so that this piece of tubing will fit through there. Now I want to drill a hole in each one of these 2 little pieces of 1/4 inch so that I could put it on here and weld it on the outside around here. So it'll be that there, and then it'll be in that much at the other end. So there's just enough room in here to give these room to roll. I got a hole saw to cut these holes. I've got a tubing notcher over here that I bought a few years ago and I've never used it. Well, I just used it and notched this piece of tubing. Let me turn you around so you can see it. I forgot to turn the camera on, or get the camera, when I use this thing. I've never used one before. This clamps the tubing, is chucked into the drill press here, and you can see a little hole saw right there, and I just drilled down through the tubing. Let's see what it looks like. Let me turn you around here so I can see. Whoa! Oh, that got him away. That will then be welded on there for the handle, the T-handle at the top. And the other end is going to be welded to a piece of angle that runs across the top of those pieces of round stock. Let me get set up to do the next step. I'm sorry, I'm not very good at working and trying to video. I've got both ends welded on with the rod going through the center of my little rollers. I used a piece of 1 3/4, 1/4 inch thick, 1 3/4 wide flat bar stock, hot roll. And they're sticking up, you can see, about 3/8 or so above the rollers. I just happen to have some 1/4 inch angle iron that is 1.75 inches on the side, so that'll work perfect. Ouch, it's the hot. To weld on there. I have it in my saw over here ready to cut it off to the correct length. So that's where I'm at now, but I'm not going to bore you watching that saw run because it takes a while with that 1/4 inch. Okay, there it is. I got my angle cut for the top. I used the angle so that if it was just flat it might bend. That'll make it more solid, and then I can weld my handle to that. I'm just going to tack it on each side, and then I'm going to stand it up on end and weld it, because I'm not real good at welding when it's laid over like that. That landed right on my foot. Let's try not to let it land on my foot again. It hurts. Now when you turn it, if that was one solid piece, you would want to twist the piece of tile, but since it's many pieces, you can just turn it, and these are going one way and these are going the other. That way it'll roll across the tile and squish it down and get the handle. That ought to hold it. Looks okay, I guess. Weld it before it moves. here it is, looking for some linoleum tile to put down. I think I'll tape up those rollers and clean up the handle and the bottom parts and give them a coat of paint. I don't think I want any paint on the rollers. It'll come off on the tile and the linoleum. Let me go get my scales and I'll see how much the whole thing weighs. About 38 pounds. That ought to do a pretty good job when you consider that 38 pounds will be resting on just a fraction of an inch wide by 10 inches. Thanks for watching.